and welcome to another edition of Side Crisis. I have no idea what that was for. But what I do know a soundboard is for is entertainment. Oh boy, that guy's gonna need to change his dungarees. Oh God. Well, let's just get the party started. The Sega 32X, a oft-maligned peripheral attachment system to the Sega Genesis. A lot of people cite as the beginning of the end for Sega as a hardware manufacturer. And those people are typically right, because the 32X was a big failure and it fractured its user base, and it came out like a year before the Saturn. And it also seemed that all of the different global wings of Sega could not work together if their lives depended on it. And as a result, we have this weird mushroom-topped thing of a Sega system that gave the world, I want to say it's 44 games total. I am not going to stop down to look that up because it just doesn't matter. But of that small library, there are several, because it was the 1990s, fighting games. And one of those fighting games is Cosmic Carnage for the 32X. So right off the jump, let me tell you, Cosmic Carnage is not what you would say a traditional good game. But what it is this weird prototype of what could have been from a graphics style, a aesthetic. To me, like, this is the ultimate cookies that should have been left baking. But Sega needed stuff to sell, so that's why it came out in the state that it did. It is no Virtua Fighter, friends. It is not, but it is this weird, like El Viento looking independent sprites animating that make up a larger sprite. It looks so weird. And it's very colorful, and the graphics are awesome. There's like really cool hardware scaling, which we'll see in a bit. The area where the game lacks the most is in substance. Like, it just doesn't seem finished. There's characters in the game that have like one special move, two special moves, and then there's characters that have like 4 or 5. And that is a telltale sign of a game that was kind of plucked out of development so that it could be put on the shelves. Let's check in with Corey. What do we think about how that piece of business goes?
We invented Hamster and Fell Dog, and it just globally went around the world, and that's how we were known.
I've never asked you about Hamster and Fell Dog, and yet every single time you're compelled to give me that answer. And we're all better off for it.
There was a big prop room and water guns. It was just a fun atmosphere.
Fun atmosphere indeed. Okay, let's get on to the mix after I push all of these buttons. And obviously, and this last one because it tickles me. Damn it. Okay, let's do it. Here comes Cosmic Carnage for the Sega 32X. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to give us a little sound. And there we are in the mix. Oh no. We really need to do something about the maturity level of the program here. But we're not. And that's fine. That's just fine. All right. Let's go ahead and keep it going. So there is an interesting cheat for this game that I have half a mind to get another controller to do, but I probably won't. Anyway, it changes the version of the game to like an all-region version, and it has a bunch more blood. And yeah, you need blood in a fighting game in the 90s. All right, let's just jump into this. First thing we're going to go do, head on down to options, as you do. Difficulty 1, easy as pie. And we're probably still going to lose. Look at that, 6-button support. So we got, it looks like it's a 4-button fighter, so you have normal and fierce, and then you've got taunts in the form of provokes, 1 and 2. This game is like an armor-based fighting game, so the more you smash up or be smashed up, you lose bits of your costume. The other thing that cheat code that I'm talking about earlier does is that it changes a lot of these characters into human beings. And this game is rated T for teen, but had they not done that, this game probably would have been mature rated. And it would have been that much more difficult to sell, which is kind of why they went the route, they being Sega, went the route that they did. Let's change up my armor. That looks cool. And yeah, I will wear this, because why not? So as you can see, these sprites animate. They are made up of a bunch of different other sprites. And check out that hardware scaling. That is like almost Neo Geo level hardware scaling. It's so smooth. There's my provoke 1, and there's a kicky and a punchy. Let's do it. Let's just get nuts. I don't remember how to do special moves, so I'm gonna button mash my way through and hope that the level 1 difficulty is the guiding light in the darkness that I need. Boom! Somersault kick! See, now I've lost armor. See, it floated into the screen for no real good reason other than to show off the fact that it could. I love that shit. This game screams technical demo. Like, not a whole lot of video game here, but there's a whole lot of technical demo here. Showing off what the 32X was capable of doing. Oh god. Release me! Naja, release me! I've had to say that a time or two in my life. Boom! Take that. Okay, let's talk about how it feels to play. Not the best. Is it better than Double Dragon 5 Fall of the Shadow? Yes, of course it is. Is it better than Brutal Paws of Fury? Yes. Is it better than Kasumi Ninja for the Atari Jaguar? Friends, it is not. And I say that as an expert. I've lost my legs. Okay, so parallaxing, not only do you have like the cool sprite stuff, but you've got multiple layers of sprites moving all at the same time. And then you have this scaling thing. I mean, just imagine, if you would, like a direct to home Mortal Kombat that utilized all these graphical tricks. It would have looked really, really neat. Or a version of Street Fighter or something. Something other than Cosmic Carnage utilizing this technology. It's real slow too. This game is very, very, very slow. Oh, I did a move. A bad move. Why would you have the attack go behind you when your opponent is in front of you? You know, it's not my day this week to answer those kinds of questions, so I won't. It is, however, my day to wear an all-over print space shirt, and I have done that. So you're welcome. And we're back. Oh, that's kind of cool. You get to change up your armor. Let's do this combination. If I remember right, the armor really doesn't do anything. It might like unlock different special move capabilities, maybe. But again, there aren't too many of those in this game. It's the area of the game that is lacking the most. Is, you know, having cool shit to do. This is another example of a 32X game that can be yours for a paltry of money, because, excuse me, a paltry sum of money is how normal speakers say that. But anyway, this game has a pretty lousy reputation, and admittedly so. So it's one of those cheaper 32X games. But I'll argue this game is actually pretty fun in 2 players. It does have that Rock'em Sock'em Robot feel for button mashing. But above anything else, it's really just kind of to show off what could have been with the 32X. And I will die on that hill. I think this game looks pretty neat. And I am a fan of those Wolf Team games. I think they're Wolf Team. El Viento and, oh god, what's the other one? It's like a name. like an alliterative name, like Mickey Mouse, but it's not Mickey Mouse. I want to say it's like Danger Dave or something totally stupid like that. I can't remember. Evan something or other. Ernest Evans. Boom, nailed it. Yes. Ernest Evans and El Viento for the Genesis had this multi-sprite animated look that I think works. All right, we are just chugging along here. Alrighty. So this is my favorite background in the game. I think the pseudo 3D stuff is really, really cool. And this is another example of a thing that would look excellent in a magazine screenshot. And it did. I remember seeing screenshots of this very level in GamePro and stuff like that and being blown away by it. There is just something about how some of these games from this era were presented in printed screenshot form that it's a real smoke and mirrors type deal. Again, I bring up the Jaguar quite a bit. That's because I'm, weirdly obsessed with that thing. But I think the only success of the Jaguar, if you can even call it that, came from how it was presented in video game magazines. I think a lot of Jaguar games, if you're not a fan, I obviously would not be shocked to see people look at Jaguar today or even back then and just be like, oh, okay, well, this is really not worth my time. But in gaming magazines, when you saw that one weird, like, bone demon looking boss from Trevor McFurrier in the Crescent Galaxy. By the way, I just cut that essay in half. That ruled. That's the Cosmic Carnage difference right there. I don't know how I did that. I think it was random. But anyway, you look at a game like Trevor McFurrier in the Crescent Galaxy in a magazine, and that game is, let's get it straight, it is pure dog shit. It is a terrible video game. But some of it looks really cool in stills, and especially when those stills are very tiny and printed on magazine paper. But Cosmic Carnage was another example of one of those too. Just looked great, looked absolutely great in pictures. I think it obviously looks better in motion than, say, Trevor McFurrier in the Crescent Galaxy. Because again, that game is a toilet full of Taco Bell shits. It sucks. And this game is a little bit more fun than that. I want to cut this ant in half like I did the other guy, but I don't know how I did it. It's just me. I'm just happy mashing here. Happy mashing. So there's a Genesis game that maybe one day I'll play. And it's called Experts. And it came out like a year or two after this game. And it features some of the characters from, well, actually just Shadow from Eternal Champions. Maybe there's another character in addition to Shadow from Eternal Champions in the game. Anyway, this late stage Sega stuff, Experts, this game, a game called The Ooze. It's like, it all has a certain feel, a certain look. It is very much a product of its era, and I mean that super lovingly. And it's like Sega kind of on the descent. They had made some mistakes, chiefly among those, the existence and release of the Sega 32X being one of those. But like as Super Nintendo kind of found its lane, and largely in part due to the success of Donkey Kong Country, Sega started making these choices. And some of these choices worked for them. I would argue what I'm talking about, Vector Man, slots nicely into this late stage 16-bit Sega aesthetic. And Vector Man 1 and 2 are largely successful games. Certainly had their fans then and now. But there's just like a, like a hypercolor look, like weird space background to Vector Man, to this game, to Experts. It was just kind of in the ingredients at the time, and it's a very special thing. Virtua Fighter 2 for Genesis, the weird animated version, kind of fits in there too. I don't know how else to explain it. It's almost like they were throwing stuff at the wall. Kind of like how well, really all of the Dreamcast was Sega kind of firing on all creative cylinders in terms of just trying new weird things and seeing what worked. But I think you're seeing a lot of that begin here in this era, and particularly out of Sega of America, doing like these weird graphical experiments with games like this and Experts and the Ooze. It's a lot of those companies are gone, and a lot of the people who made, well, I think it's safe to say all of those developers are kind of gone now. And some of them, if any of them lived, they would be involved with 2K now, which Sega sold off 2K a long time ago, and now Take-Two and 2K is like a synonymous, totally separate company. But Visual Concepts kind of started out of these teams, made that first really good football game for the Dreamcast. Those are all American developers. And I believe this game, if I'm not mistaken, was made by members of the Eternal Champions people. So just a straight up USA developed fighting game. Kind of got like a Time Killers feel to it, where it's like not good, and it's certainly not as good as like their Japanese counterparts that Capcom and SNK were making, but they were unique to themselves, and it had like its own deal, you know. I would say Killer Instinct is like probably the highest quality example. Well, outside of Mortal Kombat, obviously. That's kind of the big one. The big one, as far as American developed fighting games, it was, you know, like the biggest game in the world. But outside of the obvious in Mortal Kombat, I'd say Killer Instinct is another one of those. I'm a huge fan of Bloodstorm, I'll say it. The sequel to Time Killers improved on everything that Time Killers brought to the table, and it's still shared in this look. Almost like shitty airbrush McFarlane Toys 90s look that Cosmic Carnage has in spades. I just love it. Like, it makes me feel happy. Just like that fella right there. You don't stand like that and not be happy. Impossible. All right. Let's do all this armor, just for shits and gigs. And I forget how at the character select screen it shows you who have you killed, and I think I'm pretty far into this bad boy at this point. We might even finish it, but probably not, if I know a Sega game, and I think I do. There's going to be a big difficulty spike, and it might be here with Xena Lan. Xena Lan. She's a warrior princess that loves getting friends together to play Quake 2 and drink delicious Mountain Dew. Xena Lan. I would watch that movie. Take that. Okay, here we go. This is for all the beans. That character select screen, I need to pay attention. Make a mental note of that. Here we go. Maybe I'll chop her in half again. Ah! It is a neat effect, like when you see their armor shatter off and then like float towards the camera. It's neat. I just like the audacity of trying that out. Just saying, hey, no, fuck it, we can do it. This is a 32X. We can absolutely do that. Take that. Okay. How many of these fighters do I have left? Such a gentleman having bows like that. Pure entertainer. So it looks like just this guy. This is perhaps the final boss. Let's go with my Midnight Purple Warrior ensemble. This is my boy Talmac. Talmac looks like he's straight out of Bloodstorm. Like, just looks like he belongs in that glorious fighting game. One of these days I will play Bloodstorm. It's a weird one. I have the arcade board of it, and it uses a very weird voltage on its +5. It needs to be like plus 5.25 volts instead of every other JAMA arcade game that needed to be 5 volts. Don't know why they did that, but they did. That's the Incredible Technologies difference. The Strata difference, if you'd rather. But that game only works on one of my arcade cabinets, not the other. And it does not work at all on my Super Gun because that thing is stuck at plus 5 volts right on the money. Can't change it. Oh, I just got walloped by Talmac. I hate you, Talmac. Okay. I don't think this is going well, and I'm certainly not going to try it after this fight. So we'll see where we land here with Talmac, and then we'll go from there. Cosmic Carnage, man, it's a fun little game to throw on and just mash buttons to. Throw this bad boy on easy and enjoy neat sprite work. That's kind of the whole point. And this game costs like, I want to say like $5, but I'm sure that's not true anymore. It used to be. Oh boy, was it $5. Even brand new, this game was $5. Nobody was buying it. You owe me money, Talmac! When in doubt, jump kick. That's the fighting game difference. Oh. Here we go. Survive. I have a frog hair of health left. Survive. Oh, we might be able to. Oh! Survive. We did. Oh, one more round. And we'll see. Let's check in with some important stuff. And it doesn't get much more important than that. Well, I guess it does. That's the only way it gets more important. You know what? I could play Cosmic Carnage and hit a dance hall horn button for the rest of my life. Oh man, that's great. I think we're gonna do it, gang. No! Oh my god, it's like it blew up my leg. Jump kick for the victory! And we got him. I wish I had a little bit more options on that dance hall horn. I'll take that though. What is going on? Boom! Did he escape? Or is it going to tell me I need to play this on a higher difficulty? To which I will tell the game, not today, friend. Look at those stars. Take that, George Lucas. That's how you do it. You are the winner of the Carnage. However, your ship exploded before you escaped. You only finish them faster. Well, I mean, come on. Goddamn horseshit. Okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this. Okay. Cosmic Carnage, it's fair to say, is not going to take anything away from Street Fighter 2 anytime soon. However, it is a neat little piece of business on the 32X. It's worth checking out because it's the what could have been type scenario that I think is a big part of 32X. What could this thing have done? We know that there was a clay fighter. That's right, friends. I said a clay fighter in development for this thing that never saw the light of day. There was a Castlevania game saw the light of day. And then there was a...
No, please, no!
There was a stupid X-Men game that never saw the light of the day. But you can play some of what I just talked about on one of these on EverDrive and a 32X and a little bit of Googling. I do hope that the homebrew thing keeps going with 32X just because I am so curious to see what else can happen from this underutilized hardware. And yeah, that's going to be the 32X for a while, if ever. We'll see. I kind of talked about all the games I wanted to talk about. There's a few others that I would have loved to throw in the mix, but because my unit here, my friend of many, many years, is on the fritz, that didn't happen. But we'll get cooking with a soldering iron, and we'll fix this thing and make sure it continues to stay alive, because that's what we've got to do around here. So I'll say like and subscribe and tell your friends about this shit. We're going to do more of it. We're also on Spotify. Leave a 5-star review if that's your thing. And yeah, that's going to be it for Side Crisis. And I'll just go out the only way I should, which is one of these.
No, please, no!
Thank you for watching.